Hello everybody and welcome back to NHL 2K6. We're getting in here in the month of February. We got a short month of February, of course, because we have the All-Star break here at the end of the month. Taking off like a whole 2 weeks for it. That's crazy, man. That's a long break if you're playing in the NHL around this time. But we have the All-Star break coming up, so we're only playing about half of a month here. We got 6 games on the docket, but today we're going to get started with the first game of our month in Calgary in the Saddle Dome against the Calgary Flames. So we've already played Calgary before. I think I've even spotlighted a game against the Flames. I probably should have kept note of that before I hit press record, but I figured this would be one of the better games here since Calgary is one of those teams in the West, in the mix in the West right now, trying to get into the postseason, or at least stay in the postseason. And of course, we're trying to claw our way back into that picture. A long way to trek, but so we're going to get started in this game. Verborny takes the puck up ice here, passing it across the ice. And now the puck is loose in the offensive zone here. We're going to dump it behind the net. And we're going tit for tat here, back and forth offensively here. And a pass in front of the net. I think it's Andrew Castles who's going to get in front of that one and send it into the net here. The assistant captain is going to take the pass here. Right in front of the goaltender, and Calgary just lost sight of Castles. He was just kind of hiding back there, kind of hiding behind, and it was too late before Calgary realized where he was just hiding. So we spent a lot of time in the zone here trying to get the puck moved around in a good enough spot to even get a shot on net, and the one shot we get on net is a good one. It's a good shot, well-placed shot, so... But later on in the game here, Joe McGinley commits to the egregious penalty of cross-checking. So you see her on open ice, you can't do that. You cannot do that. So the captain for the Flames here is going to spend some time in the box. Joe McGinley caused a lot of problems for us the last time we played Calgary. And this time here, he has gotten himself into a little bit of trouble here. Going to sit in the box here. And so now, there you see our power play stats here. We're not very great on the power play, but we do retrieve the puck off of the faceoff here. And Castles is going to take another shot himself, and he's going to beat the goaltender on the glove side there. Kind of a weak shot from a pretty bad position, but he manages to get the puck there just over the glove side. So we will take that, man. I mean, hey, man, they don't have to all be pretty, man, but, that works. We will take it as Castles is going to get his second goal of the game, and right now it's all on his back. And that one's on the captain right there, man. That one is all on him. So the first period is going to come to a close, and we're hanging on to a 2-goal lead, and we've led after a period before here, but we just got to maintain it now. We got to see if we even can maintain it. So Calgary taking the puck down ice here early in the second period, and the puck is loose in the zone. It's going to be retrieved by Calgary, and in the back of the net it goes. As another weak shot is going to beat Mark Denise again on that glove side there. Pretty weak shot here, but in front of the goalie, man, there was plenty of defensemen in the vicinity. Someone could have laid some lumber down there. It looks like Newman maybe made the decision to do so a little bit too late there, but the shot gets off, and Calgary is going to finally at least cut the deficit a little bit here. It looks like Mark Denise was even bracing for a shot, man. He might have defended a little bit. Yeah, so he was going low when he should have went high, and just didn't work. Did not work. So later on in the game here, about 5 minutes later, the puck's going to get retrieved in the neutral zone. Calgary's going to take it back down, and a slapper from the circle is going to go into the net, again beating Mark Denise on that glove side. So neither goaltender brought their gloves to the game today, as this one is just completely all done by that man right there. He retrieved the puck, got the puck, first of all in the neutral zone, took it, and then just took it down himself, took the shot. It wasn't even looking for a pass. He said, it's good, dude. This is my time to shine, and it certainly was. It certainly was his time to shine, as now Calgary is even here in the Saddle Dome. And there's a big hit that we've seen. The Flames are not going to take that lightly here on home ice. And Jerome McGinley is going to get himself into some theatrics here with Theory and Fleury. They're going to go back and forth. Back and forth. They look lost out there. Fighting looks weird. Fights in some of these hockey games, you know what I mean? They can be a little bit bizarre here. And this one's just going back and forth as they keep losing the grapple here and get back into it. But it's a hell of a scrap right now. Hell of a scrap, man. Dropping the laundry and getting to it. I haven't showed a lot of fights. I think there's been one fight or so, one or two other fights in the other games that I've edited for the series so far, but I figure since it was Jerome McGinley in Theory and Fleury, one of our top scorers on the team, or is our top scorer on the team, I figure this is kind of a clash of titans right here, but it looked a lot better when I initially watched it. The fact they keep getting lost after the grapple, it just looks so goofy and just so stupid. So hopefully this fight here can provide a little bit of a boost for the Jackets here, as we have gotten ourselves as we've gotten ourselves into a little bit of trouble here into this game. And Therian Fleury's going to end up on top. I don't even know if you could necessarily call him a winner, but he's not the guy on the ground eating some ice, so we will take that. So after the second period, though, we are holding on to a 2-goal tie between both squads. But Calgary now with the puck in our end, and again, some wacky camera work is not going to get us the goal shot here, but there is another goal courtesy of Calgary. And look at that, just wide open net. Beautiful back shot as well. Mark Denise even made an effort to get it there. He was close by a little bit, but just could not get that one in, or just couldn't get his glove on it. So Calgary's going to take a 3-2 lead, and then as time is expiring here, Calgary on the power play. On the power play with just 20 seconds left in the period. That's all you need to know about how this game ended up finishing. And Jerome McGinley's going to get himself a goal here as he gets the empty netter to send the Blue Jackets away here, and they're going to win this one 4-2 as time is going to expire off of the face-off. So another tough win against an opponent that we probably should have beaten, but hey man, this is how it works down. Here's the shot breakdown. Just Mark Denison's back half of that game just couldn't really keep the pucks out the net, and the defense was struggling, and offense couldn't put pucks on the net. So we're gonna head back into our hub world now and get started with the rest of February. All right, everyone, we are officially back into the hub world now, finishing February. We're getting down to the end of it, and things started off bad in this month, but of course they would finish off pretty well. And I guess, take a look at the All-Star game if you want to. It looks like the West might have beaten the Eastern Conference. Can't be too shocked. The Western Conference is absolutely loaded this year. No thanks to us in part, but we end up kind of okay, at least by the end of the month. I don't think we would have probably gained any ground, especially looking at teams like the Predators here, as you can see their record, and maybe teams like the Kings as well. Still firmly sitting ahead of us, so I don't think any ground was necessarily gained. I don't think we lost any ground. How's that feel? That's what a 500 month will do to you. We did at least gain an extra point where we would have lost one here. It looks like we lost in overtime to the Oilers. And picked up an extra point there. But yeah, these losses to Calgary and Vancouver are tough ones to swallow here, but Vancouver's on an absolute tear this season, so we can't be too shocked. And then Calgary is also positioning themselves to be at least somewhere in the playoff picture heading into the final months of the season. So that's kind of how this one stacks up. Picked up a nice win over the Avalanche. That's a tough one to win. And then, of course, picking up a tough one against the Kings as well, and the Predators. These are all three important games that we absolutely had to win. But at this point in the game, we need to win every game. So being only 3 games, I guess, traditionally under 500, because we have the overtime and the shutout losses, but just between wins and losses, being only 3 games under 500 is not a bad place to be, I guess, heading into March, because, a nice little win streak any one direction will probably favorably impact our season, but we can't seem to stack wins, this 3-game win streak. We could look through. I don't know how long our longest win streak is. I think 3 games is it. I don't think we've had a win streak that's exceeded 3 games, so we've had a really tough time stacking the wins. He's in a 3-game win streak in October. But yeah, we've had a really tough time stacking the wins so far in this series. I guess, just it's tough to keep the wins going. we play a lot of tough teams here in the West, and our division's also pretty tough as well, which populates a lot of our games as well. So I'm not super shocked that is the case. But we will now look at the stats, because we love looking at the stats. Here we go. Nope, don't look at that. Of course, I always somehow figure out how to forget where it is. So, through the 6 games here, Therian Fleury is still leading the charts here. He hits that 50-point mark. And we looked the last time, see if I can find the screen. Here we go. We looked the last time to try and see, his point marks in his career up to this point. And it looks like we were chasing that mid-60s range. And I think at this rate, he will definitely get there. He might even reach up to this 2001 height that he had at 74 points. We might even be able to expect something close to that, but obviously he was hitting much higher marks earlier on in his career, and I don't know if we'll get anywhere close to that 100-point mark with Therian Fleury, but I think for the money that we've invested into him, getting a 70 to 70-plus point score is definitely a good move on our part. So Todd Marchant, still second on the team in points here. He got 5 points this month, which is only 1 goal. There's not a whole lot of point difference to talk about after the month of January, since we only played 6 games. Everything's going to be just about the same here. I've got the stats from last month pulled up, so I can so I can, compare and contrast here. The big thing of note is that everyone was just about either negative or was either plus or minus 1 in the plus and minus category. But this month, everyone is at least at 0 or better, which is interesting. It's very interesting. So, because like we have Teppo Newman in here, who is a plus minus of 6, and last month he was at -1. So that's I guess the win streak is really kind of helping that out here. Andrew Castles has himself a pretty big month. He was at 36 points at the end of last month, and now he's sitting at 42. So he had himself quite the month here in January. Rick Nash doesn't really do much of anything in this month here. He gets himself one more goal across those 6 games, and that's about it. So only 1 point to speak of over those 6 games. I'd like to see a little bit more from him. I actually got a lot of trade offers for Rick Nash too in the end of the month. First of all, let me tell you this. First of all, Buffalo initiated this trade. Okay, I'm telling you what the trade is, and tell you that Buffalo was the one who initiated it. Pavel Datsyuk for Rick Nash straight up. That was the trade I got. And God, it took everything in my body to not accept that. To me, that would just be a net negative trade. Maybe the age thing is the big thing, but it's a young Pavel Datsyuk, I would imagine, probably a little bit older than Rick Nash. But yeah, that was a trade I got from Buffalo. So somehow Buffalo has ended up with Pavel Datsyuk, and they were looking to get Rick Nash in exchange for him. So just wild stuff, man. Honestly, just wild stuff. David Verborny has himself a decent little month here. Gets a few points. He was at 29 last month. Now he's at 32. Teppo Newman in the same situation at 29. Now he's up to 32. So that is how things are stacking up. And here's everyone else here just kind of trudging along here. I like seeing our defensemen with 20-plus points. I like seeing that we got some defenders who are generating a little bit of production here on their own, but it kind of falls off pretty quickly once we get past Nikolai Zerdev. So, I mean, we have a couple guys in those teens, but it's a race to the bottom. I'll say that much. So, not a whole lot to speak of again statistically, since not a whole lot happened in this month. But the big thing, of course, is to look at the standings. We love looking at the standings. So, here are the standings. So, looking over any real changes here, Phoenix is still your top seed in the playoffs, as is Minnesota and Detroit. So those 3 division winners are still kind of holding firm right now. Both Minnesota and Phoenix had pretty big months in January, jumping up like a good 6 or 7 points. But Detroit is kind of hanging right around where they were. Vancouver is that first seed out. They have hopped Dallas. Dallas was there last month, and Dallas has dropped a couple spots here. San Jose has also jumped. They were at the line. They were at that 8th seed, and they've moved up firmly into the playoff picture. Of course, Dallas has fallen. And Calgary is now also into the mix as well. And Colorado is now into the mix here. Again, both 2 teams that weren't even in it when we looked last month. But, a couple good months, and that'll put you firmly in position, given how loaded the Western Conference is right now. And St. Louis is now out of it. They were in it last month, and so was Anaheim. So Anaheim was also firmly in it here. They were like a 7th seed, and now they are not even in it. They're down towards the bottom where we're at. But still, between LA and Anaheim, just 1 point separates all those teams, and when then you add Colorado, the 8th seed, into it, we're talking 2 points between all these teams. So, and even Chicago is still not really firmly out of it, and even Edmonton's not really out of it. I guess technically we are, because we're starting to get to like a 10-point gap between us and the 8th seed, and that's where I think we're just, there's not really much to do there. So I was hoping that by the end of January we'd have a little bit clearer picture about what kind of team we would be heading into March for the deadline. And it looks like we're probably going to be, I don't know. I've said my philosophy with this in this first season wasn't going to be to sell, because I don't think that there's a lot on the team that could be sold to actually make us better. You know what I mean? I think if we just kind of hold firm with what we have, keep the core that we have, and keep kind of building around it, maybe in free agency next season, add some more depth to there, especially on the wings, you know what I mean? Like add some depth there, maybe get one more really solid defensive pairing. I think we'd actually be a pretty decent team that could probably get at least to where like Colorado and Calgary are right now, or LA and St. Louis. So because I really don't think we have that terrible of a roster, and if progression and stuff works with the players the way it does in like the football games, then we should definitely be getting better from this. We have a lot of guys. We have a good solid group of 5 or 6 guys that are probably going to see some improvements after this season. Maybe because of age, that could affect things as well. That should get better. And then if we could just kind of support them with some better signings, or because I don't think we're going to get a whole big boost from the draft, but if we support them with some better signings, then I think we will have a much more firm team throughout. Other than just a top-loaded team. So we're going to go back to player stats because I forgot we have to look at our goalies, guys. We got to look at the goalies. Yeah, I forgot to look at our goalies. All right, so Mark Denise still doing the darn thing, man. Still kind of holding it down in net for us here. The goals against average, I like that goals against average, man. Just the save percentage is just really not. It's not given, as the kids say. It's really just not given, man. I wish it was a little bit higher, but still over 90. I guess I can't really with what the record of the team is. I really cannot frown on that save percentage, I guess. But Anontas Irbe is also kind of providing the same level of production in net for us at a little bit worse of a clip, but he's not really seeing the ice. I don't even know if he touched the ice in the month of January. So Mark Denise, it's really just kind of his net, man. We're kind of just letting him hold it down. So, all right, the last order of business here, we're going to get into a busy March because the deadline, of course, is right here on this day against the Coyotes. That is the deadline. So I don't know how much movement we're going to try and do. I might fumble around with the trading and see what is actually possible and look through our roster and maybe research how young prospects work and see if there's something that can be done on that front. Because there might be a deal we could get for a draft pick or something, or one of our younger guys send it somewhere for a draft pick. For someone who might help in the future, who knows? Maybe just load up on draft capital, who knows? So, but here is the month of March. So we have games against Colorado and LA, both teams that we saw firmly in the playoff picture. It's a road trip, a West Coast road trip. Another one. We're going to Denver, LA, and Anaheim to take on the Ducks to start off our month. So a brutal gauntlet of 3 road games to get things started in March here. Then we return home and welcome the Blackhawks, Coyotes, and the Oilers to Nationwide Arena. Another tough stretch of 3 games. We have the top team in the West and then 2 teams in the playoff hunt also in the West in this home stretch. And then we take to the road again to play St. Louis and Chicago. It's our first game against St. Louis this month here. A lot of repeat offenders already. So, and then we return home and welcome Vancouver, another top team in the West here, just kind of treading water behind Phoenix in the divisional race. And then we have also Anaheim for the second time this month and Phoenix for the second time this month. So very, very tough games, man. Every month has been tough so far, which is how bad we've kind of played. But compared to, just the log jam in the Western Conference, these games are not getting any easier. So we also have Calgary coming to Columbus before our second homestand of the month comes to an end. And then we have a sort of home and away situation going here. We go to Detroit for a game, then come home to play the Sharks, and then we take to the road again to finish the month against St. Louis. So, an absolutely loaded month of games here to kind of get us to the end, to the finish line. We do have a pretty nice full month in April, too. April is, of course, the end of the season, so we got a good chunk of games in April, finishing up some divisional games probably, and that's probably going to be how we end our season. So coming out of this month, I imagine we'll probably be in a much, much worse situation than we are already. I think if there is a gap in the playoff situation for us, it'll probably completely widen out of our control by the end of this month, because I don't see us picking up a lot of wins against these 2 games in Phoenix, these 2 games with the Ducks, against the Canadian teams like the Oilers, Canucks, and the Flames. I don't think we're picking wins up there. You know what I mean? We might scrape together 1 win, from the Blues or the Blackhawks or something, man. But it's probably going to be a pretty brutal month here for the Jackets moving forward. So I'm not sure yet what game we'll probably spotlight. I might just leave that as kind of a surprise here. We might highlight one of these games with the Coyotes here, and just see how good the Coyotes are actually playing since they are first in the West. Just give you guys a look at maybe, these teams in the postseason. I think it's what I've tried to do is focus on some of the teams that are on that cusp that we're fighting against, just to kind of, I don't know, a de facto, playoff type of scenario. I don't know. I'm trying to build stuff like that, but we'll probably just look at Phoenix here and just see just how strong the Coyotes actually are. So hopefully you guys come back for that one. I know this hockey video is coming up a little bit later on in the week. I wanted to leave time this week for the National Series because we were in the playoffs in that series, and so I kind of wanted to push the Jackets video kind of to later on in the week here, where I had a little bit more time. just to take my time with it, and we could get a couple more, an extra Nationals video with playoffs, rather than just another hockey video or another football video. So thanks again for watching here, and I hope to see you guys next week, probably at the same time. We'll probably just keep posting them on Friday moving forward, but hope to see you guys next week, same time here, when we get into the month of March as we're winding down year number 1 here for the Jackets.